Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Shamong Township Committee meeting of February 4, 2025. It's nice to see so many friendly faces and faces I haven't seen in a while. One of my favorite things to do is to offer a proclamation to the Boy Scouts to acknowledge them for all the things they do for our community. So, well, with that said, Sue, would you read the Sunshine Statement, please?
I will. Please be advised proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Mr. Diamond?
Here.
Mr. Croce?
Here.
Ms. Mazitis?
Here.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Here.
And Mr. Woods?
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll invite you to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is our proclamation and ask the Boy Scouts and the leaders to come on up and join me. All I can say is you guys are looking a little bit older. Come this way, so Sue's gonna take a picture of you guys. All right, this is the proclamation of the Shamong Township Committee meeting. Whereas the Eagle Boy Scout Troop 47 has volunteered their time to collect and recycle Christmas trees throughout the community as they perform their annual Christmas tree collection and mark the Martin Luther King Jr. National Day of Service, which was celebrated on January 11, 2025. Whereas 15 volunteers worked in teams of collecting 56 Christmas trees, totaling 52.5 volunteer hours and saving numerous hours of labor for the Shamong Township Public Works. Whereas the following should be commended for providing additional support: Distinctive Gardens and King's Farm. And whereas the success of this project is due in part to the support and coordination of the Assistant Scoutmaster, George Madeleine Navkar. Good, very well, very well. As well as each of the volunteers who gave their time and resources in support of the project. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Shamong Township Committee recognizes Indianville's Troop 47 for their community service of collecting and recycling the 2024 Christmas trees for the Township of Shamong. So I'd like you guys to come over here, stand with the committee. We weren't going to go up there because you've got a new dates. Usually we go back to dates. But you guys come over and I'd like you to introduce yourselves to everybody that's here. Starting with you, Bob.
I'm Bob Fay, I'm with the troop committee, been involved with the Boy Scouts here since 1970.
I'm Mike Endorso. I'm the current Scoutmaster, and I'd like to say that we appreciate our great working relationship with the Township Committee, and it's great working with Joanne in the office there.
She's awesome.
And she helps us out with the road cleanups and everything else, so it's good. We really appreciate that.
I'm Kristen. I'm 14 years old, been with the Boy Scouts for 4 years. I am a first class scout and I just want to take you to the recreation.
You're very welcome.
I'm Ronald McCoy and I'm at the Troop 47.
Excellent.
I am Jake McCoy. I'm the Scott.
I am Jim Doherty. I'm the troop committee chair. I want to reiterate Mayor Croce's comment about the thanks for the King Farm. They have served us well for many years and have served as a good recycling event. I'm surprised that Laura is not here, but I will thank her next time.
Okay, and I will as well on your behalf. And ladies and gentlemen of the board, could you stand up so that you can get in the picture with the Boy Scouts? And Sue, would you mind taking another picture? Congratulations, we appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you. If I can help you with it, trade boxes. I might drop them off at your office. Well, that's all away.
May we excuse me?
Yes, you may be excused. You don't need to stay. We won't be offended if you take off.
Oh, yes.
All right, at this point, we're going to open up the meeting to public comment. If anybody has any public comment, step forward, state your name, and speak loudly in the microphone. You will be heard.
How you doing? I'm David DeLar.
Hi,
I
David.
live at 2 Ironwood Drive. Been to a few meetings to support my fellow neighbors. We're still having problems down at 10 Woodgate Drive. It's gotten to the point, I've been here 19 years in Shamong, 50 years old. I came from Medford, born and raised. It's to the point now where my wife and I are talking about moving. The property is just not getting cleaned up. And I'm afraid that Friendship Junkyard is going to be next to my house in a matter of
I
years.
got you. Hang on one second, Dave. Trooper, you listening? Do you want to come up? We appreciate you coming. Could you introduce yourself, sir?
My name's Ed Long. I've just recently been transferred to Red Line Station as the station commander, so I wanted to show up tonight and listen to information like this. So I did have a conversation with him out before the meeting.
Great.
I am aware of this stuff now. This is the first I've heard of it. So we will do what we can on our end. Now, in terms of the junk on the, private property, stuff like that, that's more, my understanding would be a township ordinance type.
Yes, sir, you're
I can
correct.
address some of that as well.
I'm sorry?
I can address some of that as well.
Right, but in terms of any kinds of criminal activity that I've been made aware of, I can assure you, I will have our people start to look into.
All right, good. Chris was on top of this as well.
Apparently, I'm getting the more information I got, the more I realize this is an ongoing problem.
Yes, sir.
So he's been, he's back in society now,
Mhm.
and I'm not even 100% sure we were aware of that. I'll find out tomorrow. I'll talk to the detectives, and like I said, I'll review on this.
I understand that there's a sentencing hearing that's coming up in maybe the 16th or 19th of February.
Okay.
And any of the neighbors that are here, I would suggest very strongly that you either go to court that day before Judge Haynes. And if
Okay.
you call my office, I'll get you the
Yeah, I'd
exact,
love the information. I've been trying to find
Yeah,
information.
we'll get you
what
that.
happened, what's going on.
or you write a letter to Judge Haynes
Judge
and
Haynes.
tell him, Haines, you tell him what your experience is,
Okay.
what you see going on.
Yep.
This gentleman, as I understand, has been arrested.
Mhm.
He is now to be sentenced. I understand that he has prior felonies,
Mhm.
so he's not supposed to have a gun and did have a gun,
Yes.
and also had an altercation with a police officer. So they are aware of it.
Correct.
If Judge Haynes hears from you, letter or going,
Okay.
at the time of the sentencing, he will take into account his sentence.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
So.
One of my main concerns is just the debris.
The debris, okay.
There's been a truck sitting on the road.
That blue truck,
It's a, gray truck, flat tires,
yep.
busted out windows. The hood is not even mounted on it. So I get it. It's road legal, but it's been abandoned there with a flat tire for over a year now.
Mhm.
With winter being here now with snow, the plows go around the truck. We got a lot of new drivers in the neighborhood, my daughter being one of them. And it now closes that 2-lane road off to 1 lane. So what can we do about, if it had 4 tires that, if it was road legal, I don't care. But the fact that it's been in the same spot, there's even a white board underneath. And I've had discussions with the lady that owns the place, and now it's not leaking oil. It's leaking oil. They put a board under it to show that it wasn't leaking. Well, that backfired because the white board has oil drips all over it. And it's just to the point where it's an eyesore, Everybody comes over to my house, they're like, what's going on with your neighbors, and I'm just wondering, like I said, at what point does it become a junkyard?
Yeah.
And then there's nothing, like nobody's gonna do anything. This is a residential neighborhood.
All right, Dave,
This
I'll
is
tell
not a
you what-
farm field. This
Yeah,
is
I
not,
got you.
This is.
Let me tell you what's gone on, Dave, since this started. So our zoning officer has been out there.
Okay,
The property has been cited.
okay,
The lady who owns the home was brought into court. I understand there was an FTA, a failure to
Mhm.
appear. She subsequently was given a public defender.
Mhm.
And I don't know, Sue may know the date, but the court system is slow sometimes.
yeah.
It's not as if we're not doing anything, or
Okay.
it's not as if the troopers aren't doing anything.
Oh, yeah, I know you got the quad situation under control. You got, you've been doing stuff and,
Well,
But-
also recently, apparently since he was rehomed there, we very recently noticed a lot more debris. And
Yes.
last week, the end of last week, a new violation went out on the debris, which we had previously gotten that cleaned up.
okay.
Now, the other thing is our zoning ordinances has changed, so he is permitted to have that one camper there. We got the other camper out of there.
Yeah,
They're
the
not-
one is legal. The
Yeah,
one's fully, she
right.
drives. fine.
We've been back and forth and maybe maybe you can talk as
With
far
the
as,
car on the road?
yeah,
Is there no parking? I mean,
No.
is there,
She's got a massive driveway.
I mean, is it used? Do other people use it as?
It hasn't been moved for over a
For a
year.
year?
no, they say.
Not really. I mean, there's no parking signs
And I got
then.
pictures of it. I got, it's an abandoned vehicle.
I mean,
That's what we've been.
It's
arguing.
inoperable. With flat tires and a hood not mounted on it, it's an inoperable
I mean,
vehicle.
I could probably send somebody out there if it's not moved and.
No inspection
we're-
sticker.
We're gonna have to
Yeah.
tow it.
That would be fine.
But again, I don't wanna promise nothing, I
Yeah.
mean. I've just got here, so.
Yeah, I get it.
Even though the ordinance and stuff like that, I have to make sure. I'd call tow truck right now.
Yeah.
I could care less if I take the guy off, but we also have to make sure I follow the law. So I don't believe there's any ordinance then for this street that says no parking.
There's
correct?
not.
That's
No.
correct.
Alright.
Yeah.
So chances are, probably not, but again, it's on my to-do list for tomorrow.
Okay.
So this is high on our radar. I've met with a number of your neighbors. I understand this is a big issue.
Yeah.
We don't want what's going on seemingly at that property in Shamong. And it's so unfortunate that you people who are the neighbors have to suffer through this. Now, it has calmed down, or it did calm down. I understand there's more activity that's going on now. People are coming and going quickly in cars and stopping. And
The fires. The other night, there was a 10-foot fire, flamed. I woke up to my neighbors texting me, 2 neighbors. I think your backyard's on fire.
Were the police called? I mean, the.
Police the barracks were called.
Okay.
They came out. I don't know what happened. An hour later, they're out there splitting wood at 10:30 at night. Thump, thump, every time, I'm watching, they got headlights on and they're splitting wood at 10:30 at night. So like, I don't know if, the ordinance can, after 9 o'clock, can you, like, what do we do? I'm like literally just at wit's end. They got a pit bull that wanders, that
I've heard about that
confronted
as
me the
well.
other day.
Yeah.
My wife carries mace to go get the mail. She's afraid to go get the mail.
Yeah, I know that
And-
some of your neighbors have children and they don't let them
This
out
is-
now, and it's,
This is like, and again, 19 years I've been here. Like, it was a great neighborhood. And I feel like one bad apple. I mean, last summer we couldn't even sit outside because all the debris holds water.
Hmm.
Water breeds mosquitoes. The mosquitoes were so bad, we didn't even sit outside. Because the blue tarps, well, we'll just cover up 10 or 15 quads, motorcycles covered with tarps, broken down, not operable. So what are you doing with them? Like, why does he have, that's the only thing I'm worried about, is a junkyard popping up next to my house.
I got you.
And my value just plummeting.
Well, all I can say is
So-
our zoning officer is on it.
I
The
appreciate
way the system is, we have to, until somebody's given their day of trial,
it. Okay,
there's not a lot we can do regarding that, but new violations have been issued. And I can tell you, our Judge Peter Lang, is not going to put up with this nonsense.
all right.
So I would have hoped that it would have been resolved by now, but evidently, as I said, she got a public defender, and now whether there's going to be a trial or whatever,
Okay.
however it plays out. So
So the
I
ball's
would-
still rolling.
yeah, the ball's rolling.
right.
It's on
the
it's
radar.
on the radar
Kind of
for
what I
us.
need to hear. I got till the end of summer. My wife is giving me till the end of summer.
Well, you're not the first
So,
person that has told me they're considering moving.
Yes.
And so I want to do everything
I don't lose
possible.
money. I mean.
I understand. I mean, I've been out there a number of times
Yes, I'm aware.
and I've been involved, and as well as other committee members, and so we're doing what we can, and I wish I could wave a magic wand and be done with it. But I'd ask you for some more patience and continue to call the troopers if you see something. I know
Okay.
Chris has done that, and,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you, the best thing you can do now is to go before Judge Haynes, or at least send him a letter, 2 paragraphs about how this is making your life miserable and what you see going on.
Okay.
And he'll take it into consideration, I can guarantee you.
Plenty of video.
Okay.
Plenty of
If
video.
I may, I'd go the letter route right now,
Okay.
because you have no idea what's gonna happen at this trial, and next thing you know, now you're living next to,
There's already been
All right,
retaliation.
so
Yeah, it's
I just
already
say,
happened.
He'll read the letter,
Yeah.
that's the route I would go.
She tried to send the inspector to my house and sent me a thing that she was suing me and my camper needs to be moved and, like, she's just, straight up attacking me now, and, you know, I'm doing nothing illegal, so, you know, you can attack all you want, I mean,
I know, it's
But-
unfortunate.
but yeah, it's not going very well anymore.
Okay, all right. I appreciate the update, and
Thank you.
if there's, you can always call me directly or call Sue directly, but if you take a video and just present it to the troopers and make it part of the case, they'll take action, I can assure
Do
you.
they issue, like, do you issue fines for noise ordinance? Like, who, you know, when I call at 10 o'clock that they're partying and splitting wood after 9 o'clock ordinance, who, how do I get them? You know, or the dog's off leash, there's a leash law, $250. Who do I call to get this?
Yeah,
State police at that point, yeah.
Yeah, you call us and then we
Okay.
can, yeah, if it's a noise issue, I believe we have the green sheets for the town that we
Yeah.
can do the ordinance violation.
Yeah.
They're all online too, they're
They're all
available.
online, so
Yeah.
it's-
Okay, great.
All right, thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it, and we understand your issue. Chris, welcome.
Chris Thomas, 8 Woodgate Drive.
Speak up, Chris, so everybody can hear you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Chris Thomas, 8 Woodgate Drive. So Dave's comment is distressing, thinking about moving, especially since you've heard my comments over the past many months, born and raised here, coming up on 50 years in the town. I wasn't thinking about it. I tried. I tried in December, piece of property, but here's the difference. Wasn't going to leave Shamong. Piece of property came up, property that my wife and I were pretty excited about. Contacted my lawyer, contacted a real estate agent. They both came over and both said at the exact same time, how do you explain that? And then I thought about my tax bill, and I thought about my assessed value, and I thought about what I pay to the town that I love. I thought about a lot of things, how I have no intentions of leaving the town. It was an opportunity that was presented to us to stay in the town, maybe escape some of the nightmare that I thought was going to be getting a little bit better. And then professionals tell me, how do you explain something to a prospective buyer at an assessed value and a marketable value that you can't get? That's unacceptable. I understand my taxes. I understand how they're broken down. I understand where they go. But part of that is to protect the value of my house, protect my neighborhood, protect the heritage, protect the family. I got a young lady who's getting ready to graduate college, and she's talking about moving here and creating the third generation of my family in this town. Don't live in my neighborhood, I said. That's not healthy. That's unacceptable. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I got a huge heart. I've reached out to my neighbor and many different neighbors. That heart is starting to harden. I need your help. My neighbors need your help. I have no intentions of leaving the town that I was raised in. So I need the town to rally behind me. And those elected officials, I need to rely on. You guys have been very accommodating to hearing us. I appreciate it. Please don't forget about us. It's frustrating. It really is. That opportunity that came up in December has now since sold, because you know how properties are in Shamong. They're desirable. Everybody wants to be here. Well, I wanted to stay here. That opportunity's gone. So now the opportunity I have is to look out my window with no foliage and stare at this. Maybe another opportunity in town will come up when the foliage is in, because I sure as heck can't put a fence higher than 4 foot close to the road. So I'm not going to waste my money on a 4-foot fence just to keep staring at it. So I'm all about breaking bread. I would love to break bread with my neighbor, in fact. I've tried. I need the town's help now.
All right, well, I'll be willing to join you in a meeting if you'd like to meet with the lady. Right now, she's probably hostile because she's, there are criminal charges, I understand, or there are zoning charges that are pending, and she's probably not very receptive. And there are maybe some other issues out there that are going on that we don't know about, whether it's, well, let's leave it at that.
Those are out of my purview and not my
Right.
personal business is personal business.
Well, if you would like to do a meeting with her, I'll be happy to attend with you. Now, let me just say this. As of the 3rd week of February, I believe that person is convicted and will be in jail, I believe, for 18 months on a 5-year sentence. So, that's Judge Haynes' call.
Roger that, sir.
Why is that?
I said, roger that.
Yeah, it's his call. So if he hears from you all and you send him a letter, short and sweet, just that what's going on, what you see with your eyes, how this guy has ruined your neighborhood, he will take that into
I'm
account.
all about picking battles.
Yep.
And you got a new, no pun intended, new sheriff in town. and I look forward to another relationship. Just like I've had the many ones. I can remember getting pulled down here, going a little too fast on 206, and when the barracks were in this building, Trooper Senator housing me in here and saying, I'm gonna call your parents. So I look forward to those relationships. But
We're very fortunate that-
I need another relationship.
I got you.
So thank you.
All right, I know
Thank you
Chris
very
is
much.
very frustrating for you and your neighbors. If there's something I can do, I'll do it for you. And if you want to go and meet with this lady, I'll do it personally with you. Okay. Anybody else have anything to say?
It's because of that same neighbors that
Oh, you
everyone's
state your
talking
name if
about.
you would, Tim.
Oh, Timothy McGarvey, 4 Sandstone Court. That I have to move my shed because she reported us, and my shed's apparently a little too close to the property marker. I'm kind of worried about moving my shed because if you look up anything on wooden structure and moving in the cold weather, wood, I would assume since he's a building inspector, he would know this, but wood fractures very easily in cold temperatures. This is a 10 by 20 shed, so I'm kind of concerned. And I'm still waiting to hear on an extension, and oh, you did hear? Oh, okay. So I'm just kind of curious if there's any kind of remedy that you can offer to maybe help my situation here, because it's not going to be good if the shed breaks when I go to move it.
Well, I think it's a reasonable request. I know you've taken down some trees already,
Yes.
and the whole issue seems to be a little bit overkill. But here's what our zoning officer finds himself in his position. Once she complained or made a complaint, then he has to go and investigate, and he never would have done anything
Correct.
but for that. But as far as taking the time that you need, I will speak with the zoning officer, and I would request that he would give you the reasonable time necessary. I understand there have been 2 or 3 extensions already. I understand that our weather is 2 degrees, and so it's frozen in the ground. I would think that he would be accommodating to your request.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Heather McGarvey, 4 Sandstone Court. I live in the same nightmare. It's returned. I have a 9-year-old son that has to go out to the bus while the people that live there let their pit bull loose. I believe, do we not have an ordinance about a leash law here?
We
We have a
do,
leash.
for all people are to maintain their dogs on their properties or leash them. That is the law. Along with the barking ordinance are the 2 primary ones we have, excessive barking.
Okay, so I
So,
mean,
and
this,
and with fence and yards, do they have a fence in yard?
no.
Okay, because sometimes people have a fence in yard and the dogs sit over the fences, so.
Now, I'm unclear on a couple things, as to, there's been violations issued, but I mean, nothing's come of any of the violations. Not one piece of anything has been moved, not one. The bulldozer that's been there, it's probably leaked all the hydraulic fluid now. We've been complaining for years about that. All of us have well water, all our wells are right there. When is it going to be something else done? I mean, shouldn't there, is there no remedy to add additional violations or?
There was a new one added this past week. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Mhm.
But yeah, at this point, it's been a safety issue. On 2 occasions, we had people passed out and running vehicles in the street. And the state police came out and didn't give them roadside Olympics or nothing, let them go both times. No DUI, I work at a place where we see lots of DUIs from the area, but this place somehow magically never gets checked out. So, I mean, it's become, the other night with the noises, I don't know what they were doing, but it was loud. My 9-year-old son tells me he doesn't want to live here anymore. He's 9 years old. He shouldn't be afraid to go to sleep at night. This is well beyond what's normal and what's acceptable. And he's right. We can't sell our houses. Nobody's going to come by in that neighborhood. So, I mean, is the township going to lower all our taxes? I mean, when is there going to be something done? I mean, I noticed the new zoning code that, I don't know, I didn't get to read the agenda yet because I was a little busy, is you can have things up to the property line, but not my shed. You can have a garage,
Well,
but
the
maybe my
shed-
shed identifies as a garage.
The shed, as you know, from being on the land use board, remember what the land use board recommended to this committee was to have any detached garage could be even with the front of the house.
Okay, well, what's the definition of a detached garage?
You'd have to talk to the building code official. I don't handle that.
I mean, we park a motorcycle in there. Wouldn't that technically make it a garage?
Well, a garage is typically for cars, but I don't know. You'd have to talk to him. And I would say we have been doing things because there have been violations. We have been going through the court system. As the mayor alluded to, this has been much more time consuming than anybody anticipated to get things into the court. Not by anybody's fault, but people not showing up, even though there were some in the court, and we have no control over that.
Obviously, I get that.
Yeah, so it's been a very frustrating time for us. We sympathize with you. You shouldn't have to wait this long either.
Well, I mean,
but
we're
it's
still
not that we're not
intending
doing
on
nothing. We don't
on
have police
moving the
work.
shed, but I mean, it's unreasonable to make us, we were supposed to do it and it was 1 degree. No company is coming out and risking breaking their equipment at 1 degree. So now we got to wait for somebody to be available again. So this is like, and I don't know if I can get it done by the 15th. I've already had to put out almost $2,000 to have trees taken down. This is the woods. I got to take trees down to move a shed that's been there for years. And now it's an issue. So, I mean, we don't want to cut the trees down, but we got to cut the trees down. There's no way to move it otherwise. So, I mean, the law is supposed to be what's reasonable. And the only thing I see reasonable is all of us. We're being very reasonable. But I don't feel the township is. And another thing I find unreasonable is the fact that no one looked at getting another zoning official, because obviously there is an issue there. And just because everybody else is afraid to get up and say it, because, there'll be retaliation and we all know it. Everybody's waiting on permits and this, that, and the other thing. But I'll get up and say it all day, whatever. What more can he do? He already ruined my kid's Christmas. Maybe now he can get me fined, for a shed. And that's how I feel. And I feel let down by this township. And I do a lot for this township. And so does my husband. He sits on the school board. We run to 100 different things all the time. And I just feel it's unfair and I don't feel like we're heard. And I mean, if the township isn't going to do things about it, there's elections every year. So that's my feeling. And that's all I have to say.
All right, great. Thank you for sharing, as they say in California. Anybody else have any comments? Okay, at this point, we'll close the meeting. Is it Lieutenant Long? Would you like to say anything else, Lieutenant?
I can tell you after I hear tonight, after listening to this gentleman's neighbors, that this will be priority number 1 for me tomorrow. I'll do my best. I got a million different things running through my mind, but I have experts back at the station and detectives that will answer them for me. So it will be addressed tomorrow, and then we'll get going on our end. I mean, anything I can do for the town, just reach out to me. Sue has my email. If you want to send the videos through the town or directly to me, you can just call me at the station. I'll give you my email. I'll give you my email address before I leave, and then at least we'll get the ball rolling. Thanks, sir. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lieutenant, I don't want to keep you here longer than you need to be. All right, great. Well, we're happy to have you. Do you want to give your email now? And
So anybody have a pen?
now we got phones.
Email's best to send me the video if you can. Oh, you're welcome. You would have thought I brought one, but I didn't.
We're ready for when you are.
All right, so it is the letters LPP, so Lima Papa 6305 at njsp.org.
Perfect.
Okay, so you have whatever video proof that you have of what's transpiring there. Maybe that'll be enough for us to get what we need to get for, our additional surveillance and, it's at least the beginning.
That's all we're asking to be for the whole thing, sir.
I heard you loud and clear, so we'll
Thank you.
we'll get on.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Appreciate it. LPP 6305@njsp.org. Okay, great. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to close the meeting to public comment, and we're going to open up discussions and possible official action. First is the approval of the January 7th, 2005 reorganization, regular and executive session meetings, which was in your packet. If anybody have no questions or concerns, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular and reorg meeting minutes.
And executive
session.
You got it.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Ms. Mazetis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Croce?
Yes, next is a 2025 budget updates, the analysis of loss in the state aid, analysis of the savings from the shared service agreements, the open space tax, and the local purpose tax.
So in your meeting packets, I prepared a calculation showing you the loss in the state energy tax obligation, which for calendar year 2025 is 635,000. If we look at a 5-year calculation of that from 2021 through 2021 to 2025, that's over $3 million. That's not in our surplus right now.
So that's $3 million that we would get under the old way that the state law was
Correct.
set forth, and that's been cut from our budget.
And they've been cutting from us since 2002, which adds up to 9.4 million. So our budget would be dramatically different if we had those funds. Additionally, there's pilot funding, which is the Garden State Preservation Trust Fund on the next page. And that is the money that the state pays Township of Shamong in lieu of taxes over, we have roughly 2/3 of our community that is land owned by the state of New Jersey, which does not pay taxes. They were paying us roughly $170,000 a year. And then back in 2011, they cut that funding by 1/3, which they've pretty much held that with a couple blips here and there. So since 2011, we're short in funding that by 715,000. Open space tax, that'll be sunsetting the end of this year. We've had discussions at our budget meetings for probably the last 4 or 5 years about what to do with that. As I was talking, our state funding has been taken away from us for many years. Our surplus is being taxed every year with our budget. So when the sunsetting of that 2% tax for open space tax terminates at the end of this year, the recommendation is to offset that so that the net effect to the taxpayers would be 0. 2 cents decline in open space tax, 2% increase in the local purpose tax. Additionally, for the local purpose tax, whenever we do an increase from we are held to a 2% cap on our tax appropriation. Right now, 2% of our local purpose tax grants us $13,000. This year, one line item exceeded that increase. So 2% for us, because our tax rate is so low, does not sustain our budget. That being said, once we are over 10 cents in the local purpose tax, anytime we go over 2%, we need to go out to the ballot and have it voted on a general election, which is cumbersome, costly, time consuming. And I think it's better use of our money if we add something more to this tax rate next tax cycle, so that it will cover us for 3, 5, 6 years. I'm not sure what the number is going to be at this point. Depends if we add 1 penny or 2 pennies. And what does 1 penny in a tax mean to a tax? The average assessed home is 311,000. So that's $31 a year for us. Obviously, that's not the only item on your tax bill, but just to put it in perspective for the average assessed home in town. So that would be anywhere from 30, 31 to 60 to $64 a year increase for that one.
That's not a month, that's per year.
For the year.
So
and that
$30 to $60 from your taxes to Shamong.
Correct.
And so my taxes went up $1,400,
Mhm.
and $1,200 of that went to the schools, which we're going to get control of that whole issue one way or the other.
And that's a good segue. I was talking to both the local school district. They are looking at a 2% increase in their taxes. They're held by the same rule that we are. In addition to that, they have an increase in their debt service that is outside of that 2%. They can borrow on debt service, and there's no cap to that, of $5,000. That's total, so it's not anything real measurable to each house. So that was good news. Lenape District says they expect them to be placing a 2% increase on their budget and a flat debt service, which is good news. The only thing is with Lenape Regional District, since there's so many sending towns, they reallocate how they spread out their budget. So sometimes we're the windshield and sometimes we're the bug. Last year, we were definitely the bug because we got a suck with a big increase from Lenape Regional. So there's a matrix calculation based on enrollment, property value, a couple other things that goes into how they allocate the Lenape regional taxes across to each specific sending district. At this time, they don't have any more information for me on that to know how that's going to affect our town versus Medford versus Tabernacle or Southampton, the other districts. So that, at this point, I've only placed 2% into our budget, and we're waiting until we can finalize that, our tax rate.
Okay.
And the county, I have not heard anything on the county yet on what their proposed tax is going to be.
Okay, keep voting Democrat and you're going to get more of this. Next, we're going to go to the Borough Code GIF, the Joint Insurance Fund Commissioners Report of January 21, 2025.
Attended this meeting, and it was our annual reorg meeting for the Borough Code GIF. Shamong was would be recognized with 0 lost time accidents year to date through November and also December of 2024. Elected officials training is due by May 1st. It's a video. I know some of the committee members have already had an opportunity to take care of that and complete that task. What that means is that's a $250 credit off of our cost of our insurance just by the members of this body and myself completing that training. The first installment is due February the 18th. I believe we made that payment already. There's a safety kickoff breakfast that'll be taking place in late March. And our safety incentive program is due February 28th. I know Joanne in my office is working on that right now. We do have a transitional duty program for our town, and that's very important in keeping our workman's comp rate down. We also have, they announced an inclement weather policy for meeting cancellations should they need to for, the GIF has gone to both live and Zoom meeting format. So the meeting they have in February will be Zoom, so that won't be affected or shouldn't be affected by inclement weather. We're also, anybody who is on computers in our town is going through a cyber hygiene training, and that has to be completed by the end of this month, I believe. And that's all I have. Anybody needs to see the full report, it's available in my office.
Thank you, Sue.
Questions, let me know.
All right, next we're going to move to the approval of the Burlington County Aerial Mosquito Control for 2025 and for the township clerk to be able to execute all related documents. So this is something that occurs almost annually, and it's kind of routine. We get out notice before the spraying goes on. Any further updates, Sue?
Yeah, the spraying takes place between April 1st and November 30th. And as I said, if there's going to be anything on any kind of private land, they usually do notification to the property owner directly, but it's generally in like a township.
God bless you.
open- Bless you, open space. But if they do have to do anything closer to a residence, they usually notify them. And they also provided the township, and I believe they have it on their website with information on what they spray. So if anybody's interested, I'd be happy to share that with you. But we do have to authorize this every year. So they can-
Okay, anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Ms. Poseidis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is the approval of the environmental resolutions proposal to prepare the regular formal inspection of the Indian Mills Lake Dam. The cost will be $4,000 and authorizing the township clerk to execute all related documents.
And as you recall, this is due every other year. The in-between years are done by our staff, but this is a year for the formal inspection.
Okay, this is ever since we had the dams that broke back in Medford and Medford Lakes, and this is the kind of result. If there are no questions or comments, can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Poseidis?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, approval of the environmental resolutions proposal of the engineering services related to NJDOT for the year 2025 municipal aid grant for At Zion Road Phase 3 at a cost not to exceed $31,100 and for the township clerk to be able to execute all related documents. Any questions or comments on that? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Ms. Poseidis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is the review and approval of the 2024 UCC Office Annual Report, another thing that's a requirement of the state of New Jersey. Any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Poseidis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is the 2024 LoSAP. Do you want to explain what that is, Sue?
The LoSAP is Link of Service Award Program, and that goes to our volunteers at the Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Company, and we also cover those volunteers serving Tabernacle Rescue who are residents of Shamong. It's based on the number of hours that they work, and call volume they do is assessed points, and based on their point value, they are awarded money. This is basically like a township funded 401k for them, and this year's total expenditure is $34,770.
Okay, any questions or comments? You need a motion, Sue?
Yes, please.
We have a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Ms. Poseidis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
And Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is a New Jersey State Development and Redevelopment Plan.
So I attended a web-based meeting last week on this, and I think the easiest way to explain this is every township has their own zoning laws and ordinances, and they're trying to get everything fed up into the state level, and so the state's aware of them and trying to even them out and make them make sense the best they can. That being said, there's a bunch of deadlines they've given us. The first being February, would be mapping feedback. I reached out to them, and from what I understood, I said, it's just something Shamong needs to do because we are 100% within the Pinelands, and anything we change needs the Pinelands approval. So we're meeting the Pinelands. So we don't need to do anything for that. But there are some surveys we have to do. Everything will be finalized by May. Anthony, I guess you're going through this in other towns, are you, or no?
I'm not aware of it in other towns, but I'm sure it's something I'll, touch base with Ed about. And,
Okay.
Mr. Solicitor, any comments?
Same thing.
Same thing. All right, we got a good looking Doug Heinold here tonight.
I don't know about that.
Okay, do we need a motion on that?
No, just making you aware of it as I have more information.
Okay, great.
You'll hear more about it.
I'm sure we will. All right, next is the approval of the following annual contract for the township, and the clerk administrator will be authorized to execute all documentation. The first is the 2025 seasonal well water testing at Dingletown Pace Analytical Services, the 2025 portable restroom units at the Recreation Fields Star General, the 2025 irrigation parts and service at the Recreation Field, AT&T sprinklers, and last, the 2025 cemetery lawn care MVP lawn service.
And just a point of reference, Star General and the MVP Lawn Service have held their rates flat from last year. So we do appreciate them doing that.
Okay, we have a motion if there are no questions or comments.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
I vote yes. Next to the resolutions. 2025 R-36, which grants a raffle license to Indian Mills Home and School Association.
They'll be having a event. Actually, we have somebody here. You want to tell us a little bit about your event? Give us.
Did it in the last year. We'll have it again particularly this year, May 16th. I think it's 6:30 to 11. It's just all money, that all proceeds go back to the schools. So really nice fundraiser for us.
Great. Yeah, you've had a good, successful couple years, so
Thank you for your effort there.
yeah, thank you, and we're pleased to, yeah, and we're pleased to support you in that. Any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
I vote yes. 2025 R-37 authorizes a resolution to serve as a letter of support for NJ Pure LLC for a Class 1, Class 2 cannabis uses and placing the conditions upon the same.
And I received an email from the principal at party for this, and they did identify a property at 2 Lions Court, 2702 Lot 2.
Okay, and we have had, the Cannabis Committee has had a couple of meetings over this and has approved it, so we would pass that along. And for those members of the dais who are here that are on that board, I thank you for that. And it's somebody that is in the business, in the cannabis business, and appears to be a credible professional organization. And so they have found a property, Sue, did you indicate?
Yes. Mhm.
So that's good news. Any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. Decrepity.
Yes. Next is 2025 R-38, which is a resolution authorizing a change order number 2, final to Arawak Paving Company, Inc., related to the 2023 road and drainage improvement project. Anthony, you have anything on that?
This is just really the final payment, the final closeout for the road work that was done as part of that program that you mentioned. We also had the final change order. That's usually done to rectify any differences in quantities, project quantities. Going through this change order, it's mostly, some additional pavement got installed on this roadway, a little bit less striping got installed on this roadway. The change order results in a $2,000 credit going back to the project. So it's a change order. It's a negative change order.
Okay.
So I just wanted to point that out.
All right, great. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Decrepity.
Yes, next is 2025 R-39, which rescinds a resolution 2024 R-51, which served as a letter of support for Royal Beverage LLC for property located at 1244 Route 206, which is Block 22, Lot 9, at the request of the applicant and without prejudice. And Sue, there'll be no refund of any payments that were made by them, correct?
Correct.
They've just indicated that they want to withdraw their letter of support.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 2025 R-39.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Yes.
Mr. Decrepity.
Yes, next we're going to move on to ordinances. 2025-1, an introduction, calendar year 2025, which is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-45.14. Any questions or comments on that? Why do we need to have an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits? Is that the 2%?
We actually don't need it for that, but we do need it for making the surplus available and having a bank to put the surplus into, so.
Okay.
Every time you don't use the 2%, it goes into a bank. It's fake money. It's not real. That's yeah. And then it adds up for 3 years, and it's something you can use, but it's just the money you don't spend to the 2% cap.
Okay, good. Nice to know we don't spend some money.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
All right, great. Anybody else have any questions or comments? If not, do we need a motion or just?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. Decrepity.
Yes. Next is ordinance 2025-2, which is the second reading and public hearing for the salary ordinance, which was published in the Burlington County Times on January 14th, 2025. So this was basically all of the salaries of the various employees.
It sets the range from what the salary can be issued within,
Okay.
yes.
All right, everybody have an opportunity to review that, and if there are no questions, can we have a motion, please?
Make a motion. I'll second it.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
and Mr. Decrepity.
Yes. Next is ordinance 2025-3, which is the second reading and public hearing of an ordinance amending Chapter 71 entitled Fees and Chapter 150 entitled Swimming Pools of the Code of the Township of Shamong, which was published at the Burlington County Times on January 14th, 2025. Any questions or comments on that? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
And Mr. Croce.
I vote yes. Next and the last ordinance is 2025-4, which is second reading and public hearing of an ordinance amending Chapter 110 of the Code of the Township of Shamong entitled Land Development, and this was published in the Burlington County Times on January 14th, 2025. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Croce.
I vote yes. Next is our favorite part of the meeting, which is approval of the attached bill list, which this month is $2,570,221.30. Everyone's had an opportunity to review that. Anybody have any questions or concerns? Sue, is that?
One of the bigger ones we've had, right?
Yeah.
It is a bigger one, but it's a quarterly payment to the county. We pay the county $861,000 per quarter. We pay local school district $916,000 a month, and Lenape Regional $505,000 a month. Also, we have a payment on to Arawak for the road program from last year of $109,000, and we're buying salt these days, so $35,000 salt. That left $145,000 for operating expenses to the township, and included in that is an annual payment for the volunteer fire company and our insurance.
So is it $900,000 going to Burlington County approximately?
860,000,
And that's quarterly?
yes.
And what do we get from the county for that?
County roads, you get the,
We get a circle?
you get.
Yeah. Nobody wants 30.
Get the library service. Board of Health.
Well, they do a great job on Indian Mills and Oak Shade, keeping those roads in good shape.
Well, they reimburse us for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do pay, but they have a paving project coming up. They have a paving project coming up. They were supposed to do Willow Grove, but I think from what I heard, it got changed over to Tuckerton Road to be repaved this year. So waiting to see something more solid on that, but that's what I've heard.
Well, hopefully they won't repave right out here and then tear it out and put a circle in. Or roundabout, as they like to call it. All right, thank you. With that, did anybody make a motion to pay the bills? And if not, the bills will not be paid.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills. I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
and Mr. Croce.
Yes. We're going now to the reports, and I'm going to go first to the Office of Emergency Management. No report. Good, John. Excellent. John was on scene last evening. There was a young boy that was, we thought, struck by a car riding his dirt bike. We were very fortunate because it looked like a very serious accident. Instead, he hit the berm and some broken bones, I understand, and some road rash. So thank God he is okay. We're happy about that. Thank you for you and your team for being out there. Yeah. All right, we're going to go now to Township Engineer Anthony. Good evening.
Hello, everyone. Just a couple of things. We already mentioned the dam inspection for Indian Mills. That's every other year that needs to be done. So we'll be taking care of that. We also submitted the proposal, which was approved by resolution today for the Assan Phase 3 road improvements. That would be the survey design, and then the bid management and the project management of that project as well. In addition, South Jersey Gas requested a moratorium list. This is a list of roads that basically can't be cut into without, additional improvements being needed for them. So we're in the process of preparing that. Other than that, we have our local rec grant was awarded for last year. Right now, we're just waiting on insurance and bond information from the contractor to get that one started. And the end of January, January 31st, the 2025 rec grant was submitted for Dingletown Park. That would include infield amendments to 4 of the playing fields out there, some grading improvements, and some additional handicap parking spaces. So that's what we'll be applying for this next round of grants. That's all I have.
Now, there was people that came in not too long ago in the last couple months that were looking for some assistance. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Great to see you.
Good night.
That were looking for some assistance in perhaps upgrading their food shack there. Is there any magic that we can work to try and help out?
So we did look into that. You know, I've been speaking to Neil about it and Sue. We did a whole walk around. We went through, you know, the whole park really. When it comes to that shack, you know, there's certain things that come with something like that where it's that shack is really a glorified shed when it really comes down to it. In order to get that,
Not a garage, it's a shed.
I don't know. Maybe it's in disguise as a shed, but I believe there might be some significant improvements that might need to go involved with that, including, you know, possibly getting water out there, other things. And in order to get your bang for your buck for your grant program, I mean, I would recommend, you know, focusing on the kids playing fields at this point in time, but that might be something that could be addressed further as part of a larger project.
Okay, and that might be something we can do with volunteers. I think originally there were a lot of volunteers that put effort into that building. So we have a lot of talented people in town that can swing a hammer. So maybe we'll look at that option as well. All right, thank you, Anthony. Anybody have any questions or comments of Anthony? John?
Minor about the retirement, the emergency action plan for the dam, as part of the inspection, will you be updating the emergency plan that's reportable to the state?
Yeah, we can do that. We'll really just be updating, you know, Gary's information with the new public works director, and
We have an opportunity to collaborate, like it's submitted, I would enjoy.
yeah, that's not a problem.
Thank you, Anthony. All right, now stand in for Doug Heinold. Introduce yourself as solicitor.
I'm not aware of Doug prepared a report for this evening. He did not make me aware.
All quiet on his front. Where is he? Someplace warm?
Actually.
He's sick.
Oh, no kidding. All right. Well, we appreciate that you coming out, Chuck, and filling in and being a part of our meeting. All right, next we're going to go to our Township Administrator, Sue. Good evening, and you fill us in on anything that's happening at the Building Code Office, the Finance Office, the Municipal Court, the Tax Office, and we already heard from the Emergency Management.
New Jersey DMV or Motor Vehicle Commission was out here in January on 3 different dates and had a mobile unit. It was very well received and very well used. So we're going to look at doing that again, at least 2 other occasions later this year. We're working on scheduling that. 2025 dog licenses are available. Every dog that's over 6 months old should be licensed. Rabies clinic will be taking place on Saturday, April the 26th. We'll be using the Memorial School site again from 9 a.m. to 11.
Will that be Dr. Dazen volunteering his
Yes.
time again?
Mhm.
Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Dazen, and to all of you that do that.
Yeah, it's you know, John's CERT team is out there. It's a lot of working hands there, and it goes over well. The 2025 gypsy moth treatment is 35 acres will be treated. It's mainly taking place on Route 206 between East Stokes Road and Hampton Roads. The dates of treatment will be announced once known, and the state will be notifying those people that are directly impacted by that. The auditors were here this past week and worked on our 2024 annual debt statement and financial statements and did some of the audit field work, and they'll be returning later this month and into March. We issued 2 sets of solicitor licenses for people to go door to door. 1 for Edward Jones, financial representative, and 7 went to Renewal by Anderson. And I just wanted to update everybody on our shared service agreements that we do in town. The projected savings through the end of this year, since the inception in 2010, will be $370,000. We're averaging about $23,000 a year in savings on our shared service program that we do. Within the building code, they finished up and they had a very strong year last year with 151,000 in revenue, and they had a good month in January. We have some new homes coming, still being budgeted. That's where a lot of that's coming from. And the uh, the court, shared service for the court. For 2024, we ended up the year at a loss of $726, which is actually very good. You want that to be as close to break even as possible, so that was very,
Yeah, we used to
Well done.
spend about 50 grand on that,
we were
right?
spending 50 to 60 grand before we went into a shared service, yeah. So we've totally turned that around as we did the building and zoning office. And also in your schedule is the Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Company reports. I put that got added on here at the desk because it came in later today. So if you have any questions specific to those, I'll get them for you. And I know that we owe you one for the finance office, but with the audit and year-end wrap-up, they don't have the numbers yet, so they'll
Okay,
have
great.
that for next meeting.
Anybody have any questions or comments to Sue about any of those issues? Okay, now we come back to the public comment. First of all, I'd like to comment on the comments that were made this evening about how professional everybody was, being mindful of everyone's time. As you know, we don't put a time limit on anybody or restrictions, and so I just want to acknowledge what professional comments there were. So with that, I'll open it back up to public comment. If anybody has anything to say, that just come on up. Can only speak once a night.
I just wanted to give you an update on Warden State Forest. They're still putting barriers up on a lot of roads. Open Trails has contacted the governor's office and they are supposed to meet and review. That's as much information I know on that. I just want to stress that it is a governor's race this year, and this is one of the topics that I brought up, and many other people are bringing up. It's a great question to open them 400 miles of roads. There's reports of it saying that it's 200 miles, and they're lying. It's 400 miles, and I actually went out and did a little drive around and noticed some new posts, and these are like serious posts. They're taking big lumber, cedar lumber, and burying them in the ground. And it's tough to see. I grew up out in them woods, and that was like, it's kind of like your sanctuary to get away from all the hustle and bustle. It's gorgeous out there, and they're trying to take that away. And it's important because the governor is the only one that can really open them back up. And we stressed that to the candidates that we had an event here in Shamong. That was great. And I want to keep pushing it and remind everyone that, hopefully if we get a governor in there that looks at that and gives us our rights back to our state forest, not state park. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Tim, as I think you know, I did meet with the powers that be, both in a meeting and then publicly. And, it's almost, we hear what you're saying, but we're going to do what we want to do. So we need a new governor to reverse that, or maybe we can get Trump to come in and weigh in on it, and he'd have it solved in a day. But it's a concern of mine. I think it's outrageous that they are closing the roads to people that are trying to get out of the hustle and bustle and go and join the forest. So I join you in your comments. Anybody else have public comments? Ladies, want to say anything? You're the ladies. All right, great. Thank you for coming. We're going to close the meeting to the public comment, and we're going to ask for a motion to move into executive session. And I'll explain to you what executive session is. We have attorney-client privilege for contract negotiations and possible litigation that we're going to discuss. We may be 5 minutes, we may be 1 hour. You're welcome to stay. If we take any official action, we'll come back out and put that on the record. So with that, I just also would like to thank Lieutenant Long. Congratulations on your new project and we're really happy that you're here. And we look forward to working with you. We like you being gentle with the Shamong residents.
That's not a problem.
And then when you need to, we're just basically common sense, right? So when there's a problem, we'll handle it, but most people are neighborly and respectful. And as I like to say, when a tree falls down, they don't call me right away or sue right away. A lot of guys and gals will go out and they'll solve the problem themselves. And that's what we're trying to foster. We appreciate our troopers. We don't ever want to abuse or, waste your time. So we'll only call you when we need you, but you're always welcome to our meetings and anything that we can do to support you.
Remember, we're here to serve you.
Yes, sir.
Whatever is needed, do have my.
Thank you,
All
Lieutenant.
right.
Appreciate you, sir. You as well. Appreciate it.
So I'll be in touch about what.
Okay,
what's
thank you.
gonna happen with-
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming out, sir.
Thank you.
All right,
We do need a motion
yeah.
on,
with that, can we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good luck with your event.
Good luck.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
and Mr. Croce.
Yes.
9:80.
Okay.
We are back in session after our executive meeting. We decided not to take any action. And therefore, we will ask for a motion to what?
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. and
Thank you, everyone.
Ms. Mazitis. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.